My friendships with dysphoria-affected people have led me to conclude that this topic is being woefully mishandled in today's emotionally intoxicated world. It's a discussion that requires tremendous courage, empathy, imagination, and a bit of selflessness if we want to grow and heal. Sadly, I believe people are taking the opposite approach concerning matters of gender and dysphoria. We have been antagonistic, volatile, resentful, and intellectually cowardly. For context, I want to give you my genuine position and my priorities. My position is that I want people to get along and to forgive. I'd like each of us to grow intentionally and courageously toward our greatest potential self. Let's please approach this subject matter with as much tact, respect, and genuine empathy as we can gather. The solutions to our problems will never come from additional resentment, despite bitter claims of the contrary. We all know deep down that resentment is pure poison. Let's ask, is the problem of dysphoria simple or multi-logical? Well, simple problems are easily solved, so we can rule that out. Trying to force simplicity on complex problems will only do more harm. To be clear, I firmly believe we must avoid oversimplifications and stereotypes if we want to maximize our likelihood of actually helping people. And that goes both ways. Don't assume that trans people are all activists or inherently atheistic. On the other hand, don't assume that all religious people want to take away a person's right to identify a certain way. This black and white categorization is characteristic of modern thinking, and it's as maddening as it is wrong. I must not assume that because someone is trans that I can make further assumptions about their character or beliefs. The portrayal of the radical activist trans person is in fact a stereotype. Talking with my dysphoria-affected friends over the years, I came under the impression that those living with gender dysphoria oftentimes just want to be left alone. As I understood, trans people tended to value their privacy and blending in. They didn't appear to benefit from a loud and proud mentality the same way that other marginalized groups did. The entire discussion exploded into public consciousness at the dawn of the new 20s, as identitarian thinking tragically replaced more courageous modes of thought. Many suffering with dysphoria looked on in horror as their condition, and perhaps their subculture, became widespread to mainstream misrepresentation. A once relatively uncommon condition, treated in early adulthood, now seemed to be commonly affecting young children. Attention-seeking parents occasionally appropriated dysphoria as though it were a trend. To make matters more difficult, the available information became rampant and unpredictable. Pornographic content further dehumanized people of all kinds, fanning the flames of confusion surrounding these already delicate issues. We made habit of mistreatment and misunderstanding when we chose porn of any kind. The increasingly corrupt pharmaceutical and medical industries played along to maximize profit, and people became quickly radicalized and misinformed. The rules, tendencies, and expectations have been ever-changing. People began to detransition. Opinions and ideas presented as fact ranged from dignified to insane. Confusion reigned supreme as the uninformed greater society looked on in horror, sometimes morbidly curious and sometimes intoxicated by righteous judgment. Activist-populated subcultures often masqueraded as inclusive. All of a sudden, music scenes and all sorts of various hobbies became completely dominated by language that many believed was necessary, but many believed was condescending and patronizing. Some of the marginalized were annoyed, while others felt safety and acceptance. Others enjoyed the attention. Concerning trans people as well as onlookers, all sorts of people were saying all sorts of things and nobody could agree on the truth. Thus, we began losing reality and devolving into blame and resentment, habits which always produce misery and insanity. We should examine the bigger picture of all this and what it indicates. I'm under the impression that the entire dysphoria conversation is a test, an opportunity to exercise compassion with both delicacy and urgency simultaneously, a fitting challenge for anyone who believes that it matters, or or anyone believing that courageous, selfless love is the highest aim. The alternative is absolute garbage. I don't want to be drunk on emotions or addicted to ever more heated arguments. That path is a bottomless pit. I've been there before, and it simply does not work. If you consider yourself trans, please do not let that stop you from beginning a journey of spiritual understanding. Do not allow the pain to prevent you from growing in empathy and comprehension. And please don't use it as an excuse to indulge drugs, including porn and alcohol. You are loved, and you can find what you need if you build your thinking courageously, intentionally, and purposefully. The same way that blame and resentment are a bottomless pit, there is no end to better. You can choose that better path. You can choose that point of aim and that habit of surrender. Nobody can categorize you. You are more than your condition. I don't encourage self-pity, but remember that dysphoria-affected people are navigating tremendous hardships. We must approach this topic with both great compassion and precise honesty. I am reminded in Scripture that many of the last will be first, while the first will be last, that with God anything is possible, and that harsh judgment is a dangerous habit. I will always look toward my trans neighbors for courageous discussion. They are human beings with unique and essential stories, not merely defined by this fallen world's various attempts to classify, pigeonhole, and stereotype them. Speak to the person, not the condition, and you will find an opportunity to uncover profound meaning. You will encounter valuable context, and together we can develop potent and meaningful solutions to our pain. If things get bad, you can change your trajectory by facing your fears. You can make decisive spiritual maneuvers such as commitment to habit formation via routine affirmations and prayer. Or better yet, you could work a 12-step program with a sponsor. But in any case, the world needs you. We need your experience, strength, and hope. Just imagine the next person who may be helped. As the world's problems become ever more complicated, you and your solutions matter, and so does the next suffering, helpable person. Let's be committed to understanding that.